Welcome back to The Explainer. I am so thrilled you're here today because we are diving into something genuinely radical. We're going to completely flip the traditional narrative of wealth building right on its head. Think about a tiny, almost invisible monthly decision, the kind of choice you probably make on a random Tuesday without a second thought. What if I told you that that tiny choice could completely alter your long-term financial trajectory? By the end of this explainer, you're going to walk away with a concrete step-by-step guide to launch this strategy today, even if your budget feels incredibly tight right now. Seriously, think about it. What if just one decision you make today could dictate whether you retire comfortably or spend your golden years stressing over bills? And no, you don't need a fancy college degree, a massive executive salary, or some huge trust fund from your parents. I want you to imagine building real, life-changing wealth using an amount of money so small, literally just $100 a month, that you'd barely even miss it. It's basically the cost of a couple coffee runs or a few streaming services you barely watch. But, okay, before we get into the how, we have to face a pretty terrifying reality. According to recent surveys, the vast majority of Americans literally cannot scrape together even $1,000 for an emergency. Just let that sink in for a second. More than half the country is living so close to the edge that a busted transmission or a sudden medical bill could completely wreck their finances. And we aren't just talking about minimum wage workers here. We're talking about people with degrees and what looks like a super comfortable middle-class life. They might have the nice car and the trendy clothes, but underneath all that consumption is a frightening truth. They are completely trapped in an endless cycle of earning and spending, and they are secretly broke. So, here is our roadmap for today's explainer to get you out of that earn and spend cycle. First, we'll deconstruct the middle-class money trap. Then we'll break down the exponential math, show you exactly how to audit your expenses to find that initial cash, explain how to automate your wealth, and finally, look at scaling the snowball. All right, part one, the middle-class money trap, and how to actually escape the cycle of earning and spending. To break out of this trap, we really have to rethink what being wealthy actually looks like. When you think of building wealth, what pops into your head? We always picture these dramatic, glamorous headlines, right? Wall Street whales making million-dollar trades, tech billionaires, or lucky lottery winners hitting the jackpot. But that glamorous stuff, that is the extremely rare exception. The true secret to building wealth, honestly, isn't glamorous at all. It's actually kind of boring. It is the quiet, unglamorous, relentless consistency of putting away $100 a month, every single month, year after year. Which brings us to section 2, the exponential math and the absolute power of compound growth. There's this amazing story from the concepts we're unpacking today about a teacher who told his students that if they just saved $100 every month, they'd be millionaires by retirement. The kids thought it was a magic trick, but he was just tapping into exponential math. Think about a 40-year career. If you invest $100 a month over those 40 years, your total out-of-pocket cash is just $48,000. But assuming average historical market returns, your money doesn't just sit there. It explodes to over $350,000. That means over 85% of your wealth in that scenario comes entirely from compound growth. That's not your labor. That's just your money doing the heavy lifting for you. It makes total sense why Albert Einstein supposedly called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. Wealthy people understand one very fundamental truth. You only have 24 hours in a day. There's a hard physical cap on how much you can earn through your own labor. But there are virtually no limits to how much your money can earn for you when you just give it enough time to compound. Let's jump into section 3, audit your expenses. How do we actually find your $100? So how do we dig up that initial $100 today to get your snowball rolling? It boils down to 3 really straightforward steps. Audit your fixed costs, automate your contributions, and set up a routine to monitor your progress. To actually build this habit, I highly recommend creating a quick 15-minute weekly checklist. Say every Sunday evening, just sit down, review your recurring payments, check your balances, and track exactly where your variable spending went during the week. This keeps you laser-focused and fiercely motivated to separate your true needs from your random wants. Let's talk immediate action. First up, fight customer inertia. Spend just 1 hour this week negotiating your car insurance or switching internet providers. Seriously, companies rely on you being too lazy to switch. Next, do a massive subscription sweep. Cancel the jam or the streaming platform you haven't touched in a month. Finally, optimize your pantry. Shift your grocery habits by meal prepping just 2 extra days a week so you eat out less. Doing literally just one of these things can free up $50 to $100 immediately. You absolutely do not have to make miserable, drastic cuts to your lifestyle. You just have to be strategic. But this requires a major mindset shift. We need to start swapping out daily consumption for long-term wealth.
An awesome habit to start today is the 24-hour rule. Before you make any non-essential purchase over $50, just wait 24 hours. You'll usually realize it was just a fleeting want. Because once you truly grasp compound interest, a $100 dinner isn't just a dinner anymore. It's potentially several $100s in lost future growth. Treating every single spent dollar as a trade-off against your future wealth, that is the psychological cheat code for this entire strategy. Moving to Section 4, automate your wealth and overcoming instant gratification. Knowing the math and having the right mindset is honestly only half the battle. Maintaining the discipline to stick with it in a world obsessed with instant gratification, that's the real challenge. And that is exactly why investment automation is a total non-negotiable. Here's your playbook. Log into your employer's payroll portal or go talk to HR and set up a split direct deposit. Have that $100 routed straight to a separate brokerage account before it ever even touches your primary checking account. Pay yourself first. By treating this monthly transfer like an invisible, absolutely essential utility bill, you completely remove the temptation to blow your cash on a random weekend trip or flash sale. The choice is just made for you automatically. And finally, Section 5, scaling the snowball and accelerating your wealth building. Once your automation is humming along, something genuinely amazing happens around the 6 to 12 month mark. You actually start to see your money growing while you sleep. It stops feeling like a sacrifice, and honestly, it gets kind of addictive in the best way possible. This leads to what we call lifestyle optimization. You know how most people inflate their lifestyle when they get more money, like upgrading their car or apartment? Instead, let's look at a secret weapon. Your annual tax refund. The average refund is over $2,000. Instead of treating that like fun money for vacation, drop it straight into your portfolio. It instantly funds months of future investments and dramatically accelerates your timeline without touching your regular paycheck at all. And as your career income naturally goes up, you can really start to scale this. Say you get a standard 3% cost of living raise. Take 1% for your lifestyle, but automatically route the other 2% straight into your investment automation. You won't even feel the pinch. You might start with just $100 a month at age 25, but by simply capturing pieces of your raises and promotions, you could easily be putting away $500 a month by 35 and $1,000 a month by 40. That early $100 hobbit is the rock-solid foundation for this massive acceleration later on. To put that acceleration phase into perspective, think about the milestones. Early on, the growth might feel a little slow, but stick with it. At a $50,000 balance, a standard 10% annual return generates $5,000 totally passively. Hit $100,000 and you're making $10,000 a year without lifting a finger. And when your account crosses $300,000, your investments are churning out $30,000 a year in growth. Suddenly, this isn't just a side project. These returns are so enormous they could eventually replace your salary entirely. At the end of the day, your absolute biggest asset in this entire equation is not a massive salary, and it's definitely not trying to perfectly time the stock market. Your biggest asset is time. By choosing delayed gratification over immediate consumption today, you are locking in your future. And sure, you'll absolutely face market downturns, recessions, and volatility over the decades, but because you are betting on the long-term power of time and relentless automated inputs, you are going to ride out those waves and come out on top. So I want to leave you with one final thought. So many people fail because they are waiting for the perfect moment to start investing. They're waiting until they have some massive lump sum of cash. But the perfect moment is right now, with whatever small amount you can scrape together. You know the old saying, the best time to start investing was 20 years ago. The second best time? That's today. So are you going to keep waiting for the stars to align, or are you going to start your snowball right now? Thanks so much for tuning into The Explainer, and we'll catch you in the next one.